Well, hey there, friend, and welcome back for another episode of the Your Hair Mentor podcast, where I'm your host and your hair mentor, Crystal Green. And I invite you to come take a listen to the top leaders and thinkers and experts and innovators in the beauty industry as they share their stories of triumph and struggles and success in creating their businesses behind the chair. I hope you enjoy these episodes just as much as I did recording them. See you on the inside, friend. Hi, Caitlyn. I'm so excited to have you on the Your Hair Mentor podcast. I'm excited to get to know you a little bit because I feel like I've been following you on social media for quite a while and love your work, by the way. You do amazing work. But what really caught my eye was this one video that you had in particular where it was introducing these bioprogramming tools, which I know we're going to get into later. But you were holding the iron on this hair for like minutes at a time, and it was not fried off. And then you did a side by side with this other iron. And I was like, what the heck is going on here? Right? So
Yes.
I'm really excited to have you on here today to talk about those. But like, I also just want to know like who you are and where you are. So maybe we'll start with a quick introduction of who are you, Caitlyn?
Oh, I love that. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much, Crystal. So I am a hairstylist of Northeast Ohio. I started doing hair in 2006. I'm a salon owner. I am keratin extension obsessed. I educate with Line One. And I am the director of education with BeautyTechDistribution. I am obsessed with my golden retriever dogs, and I'm just here for it. I'm here for all of it. I got started in the industry probably how a lot of people did. My parents didn't want me to do it at all. And my mom was like, if you want to do that, you're going to have to pay for it yourself. And I'm in high school and I'm like, okay, great. It's $500. Like, no big deal. It'll get me out of like XYZ classes. This is going to be the best plan ever. So I literally worked at a hot dog store called Hot Diggity Dog all summer. My sophomore year, I'm not kidding. I had to wear a hot dog outfit, a hot dog costume, and hold a sign near, like, probably within 500 feet of my high school that said, honk if you like hot dogs. And I did it for cash under the table because I just wanted to get out of regular school. I had no desire to do hair, but I was just like, this is what it's going to take all summer. I'll do it. But then, like, leaving school, I would hear people like, who do you think's in that hot dog costume? I just want to get out and tackle him one day and find out. And I'm like walking over there, like, oh God, please don't. Oh my gosh. Like, it was torture. So then I started babysitting, whatever. I got the rest of my money. I put my deposit down, joined cosmetology school. I went through, I couldn't braid. I didn't think I was a natural. I was just like, this is cool. It's better than sitting in regular school. I'll paint your nails, whatever. And it wasn't until I graduated that my friend was like, oh my gosh, do you want to work at my mom's friend's salon? And I'm like, no, why? And she's like, well, don't you have your license? I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to do hair. Like, no, I just want to get out of school. And she's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to college. Like, I'm going to business school. That's where I'm an entrepreneur. Like, I don't want to do hair. Can't make any money doing that. Oh my gosh, I was so wrong. Obviously, here I am. But I started assisting, and I receptioned at this salon. It was a little 2-chair salon, open 3 days a week. And I thought these women were billionaires. Like, the money they brought in, $500 a day in services. I was like, oh my gosh, I would have to work 3 weeks to make that kind of money. Like, this is huge.
Wearing
And
a hot
yet,
dog costume.
yes, exactly. I'm like, I made $5 an hour, like, cash, but but still. So I was just like, maybe there is like money in this. I don't know. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm still going to go to school. So I went to Kent State for business, and I worked at the salon. I worked at Texas Roadhouse. I always had more than one job. I did so many things. I was so driven by money. Also, paying for things myself was the way I had to do it. And once I graduated, I had already been doing hair for people that I worked with at the restaurant. Like, these women that I worked with were amazing. And they were like, every Monday, you need to bring a model in, and you're just going to learn to foil. You're going to just learn whatever you want. And I'm like, I have to do free hair on Mondays after working 6 days a week and being in school full time. Like, this is torture. Why would you do this to me? And so I dreaded it because I was like, I don't even make any money. Like, oh my gosh, it's not worth it. But like my girls that I would start foiling were like, these are the best highlights I've ever had in my life. Like, this is incredible. Will you do my hair? And I'm like, no, I don't want to do hair. Like, I don't want it. Like, no, thank you. Thank you for offering. This is literally just to get them off my back. And the more I did it, the more people were just like, Caitlyn, this is the best. And I'm like, but I just see myself as an entrepreneur. Like, I cannot let myself just do hair. And finally, once I graduated college, I was still in the salon. I was making pretty decent money. I was, doing the postcards with the like free eyebrow wax with your color and like all the things, leaving them in tanning salons, all the places that my ideal clientele would hang out. And I was not building very fast, but it was fine. And this was Facebook days. So I started a Facebook page and started doing before and afters. And now when I look back and I'm like, I got 2 likes, like two. And one of them was my husband now. You know what I mean? Like, how did I not give up? Like, I was just like, wow, this is a great one, And I just kept putting my stuff out there and thought, oh, every time I go somewhere, like I was so happy with what I was doing, but I never felt respected enough. And I think a lot of people in our industry feel that, where it's like, oh, what do you do for a living? And it's like, I am a hairstylist. And they're like, oh, fun. Oh, you do hair? That must be so fun. Yes, like you sweet little angel. I can't wait till you grow up and get a real career. Like I just felt like that, even if that was no one's intention at all. And so I was like, I want to be taken seriously. And I'm like, who do I admire? And I was like, I, at this point, really admire educators. Like I admire people that were authentic. Like I was taking classes. I had now gone to like 2 or 3 like ABS shows. BTC was a big thing. And it was the very first year for that. And I was just like, wow, this is a whole nother aspect of the industry that I didn't even know existed. I want to be that. And so at that time, there weren't really a whole lot of full-time educator roles. It was a lot of 1099, part-time, you're in the salon, you're this, you're that. But I came across, we actually we were a Kenra salon. So we used all reg and color, but Kenra products. And we had a Kenra salesperson come in one day and he's like, hey, we're developing a color line. Like we're going to have, education. Would you guys be interested? And I was like, what? Kenra color? Like that's awesome. So I actually went through a 6-month interview process and was one of 11 people to help develop and launch Kenra Color. And this was back in like 2012, maybe 2011, 12. And the salon owner I remember was like, well, you're not going to be a full-time educator. You'll still do hair. Like, because that's not a thing. And I'm like, no, like it's like benefits. It's like a full like salary. Like this is the most money I could ever dream of making. This is so cool. And they're like, okay. I'm like, but I can't work in a salon. Like they were like, you can't. It's like if we need you at a show, but you have a client that you've been doing for 10 years that's getting married, we need you to be able to choose us. So you absolutely can't do hair. And I was like, okay, this is the way I'm going to be taken seriously. And I did it for 3 or 4 years. I taught all over the country. I had 5 states as my territory. I taught at shows, did all these things, and it was so fulfilling. But I missed my client relationships. I loved going into salons and seeing stylists with their clients and like formulating for them and doing the process. But I missed that connection that I had with my real people. And so I was like, there has to be a way to do it both. This might not be it, but I miss that. And it had been about 4 years. And I had just posted on Facebook one day, like, and at that time I was Caitlyn at Kenra on Instagram. And so I was taking pictures and documenting their natural level, their starting point. Every class that I taught, I documented what we did, the placement before and after, so that those stylists could refer back to it. But it became like an archive of just before and after. So my whole page was literally split side by side. So I look back now and I'm like, oh my gosh, but it's okay. And so I just thought like there has to be a way to do this. And I threw a Facebook post out. And at that time, my husband actually had proposed to me. My husband now had proposed to me at one of my big Penra VIP events.
Okay, so your husband followed you to propose.
Yes. Yes. And like he worked with like my Kenra team and like it was just so cute. It was really, really great. But yeah, that happened actually up in Michigan at an event. And he was just like, "You're never home." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And I was like, "I know." And I was just really starting to feel it. And at that point, his mom was sick and his dad had already passed. And I was like, "Ugh, maybe I do need to be home more. Let's just see. Like, I've been gone for so long. Would anybody even like want me to do their hair?" And I was shocked. Like when I just put out a Facebook post that was like, "Hey, like I might be considering it maybe coming back, but only if like I have a client or two. I'd have to start from scratch." And it was just overwhelming. People were like, "Oh my gosh, Caitlyn, yes, absolutely. Like I haven't even had my hair touched. I have just been growing it out, like crazy stuff." I was hearing the wildest things. I'm like, "Girl, it's been 4 years. Like, what is happening there?" Like, "No, you should have absolutely had your hair done. I recommended you to so many great people." And it was just this loyalty and like that trust, that relationship you have with these people. And it's crazy to me that I still have some of those day one people. It's wild. Like I left for years. And so just that feeling right then and there made the decision for me. And I, let Kenra know and they're like, "Oh my gosh, like, is it anything? Like, can we make it work?" And by that time I was like, if full time is the only option, no, I'm so sorry. I miss being behind the chair. And they were like, "Okay, we completely understand. If things change, let us know." And continued to support and use Kenra Color. And then I had been doing keratin extensions, before I left and went and worked full time. And so I was like, I'm really gonna just hone in on that. And so I really started just focusing and developing that aspect of what I really wanted to be behind the chair, because it almost felt like I could reinvent myself a little bit and like only do the things I wanted to do. It wasn't like I know that I needed to build, but I wasn't like desperate in the way of like, I'll do every kid's cut, I'll do every relaxer, men's haircut, they're mine. Like, I just came back feeling different. Like, I'm going to make this what I want. There's no reason I can't. So I did. And so I developed a really fantastic keratin extension clientele based off of my existing clients, referrals. At this point, I changed my Caitlyn at Kenra Instagram to Hair by Caitlyn. And so I mean, this was back in 2014, 15, and it just everything was going really well. Like I was just consistently building via free marketing, word of mouth. I posted consistently, but nothing crazy. I was just like, this is gave Brittany highlights today, Gloucester. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. It wasn't until 2020, when the whole world shut down. And I think I had like 350 followers at the time. They were all my clients and like some random Kenra people, but I was like, I'm going to do the BTC social climbing class. There was like this online platform, and I was like, why not? And so I did it, and I was just so inspired. I'm like, wow, I want to do that. Like, I follow all these people on Instagram and see their success and see what they're doing. I have so much information I want to share, but I have nobody to share it with because all my followers are my clients. So, how do I attract stylists? And so it got to be that whole thing of like, who is your target audience? Find your lane, post only what you want. I never posted another, like, no offense, but like redheads are not my thing. I was like blondie and extensions. That was my passion. I still have maybe 3, 4 redhead clients, but at that time I was posting everything and I just kept attracting more. And nothing, not that there's anything wrong with it, but I'm not a specialist. Like, I think like there's way better stylists that could do a better job on that than I could. It wasn't my thing. And so like there's just this whole like, don't post color corrections if you don't want to get color correction in your chair. And that clicked for me. And I just started posting 7 days a week. And it was honestly hell. Like it honestly sucked. Like people were like, "Oh, I just batch content. Like I just get it ready for the week." I'm like, "No, I must be doing something so wrong." Like I invest so much time into captions, into tags, into hashtags, into characters, into effects, into all the things. Like I'm just doing all the songs and dances, but I could never get ahead. It was just to post that day. And then like feeling defeated if you never got a repost or it didn't perform. Like it was so stressful. And I was like, I can't wait till like people just start seeing me and and who I am. And so finally, like by the end of that year, I hit 500 followers. And I was like, my goal for 2021 is I want 1,000 followers. Like I'm going to double my following. And I hit it and I got to like 3,000. And then it was just like a really slow climb for me because I didn't want to be an influencer. I hate to say it, but I didn't want to like sell my soul and just be like, oh my gosh, you guys, this brush is just the best brush. Love it. It's my favorite. And then 2 days later, whatever, grab another brush and be like, this brush is really my favorite. And like, I just can't. And I lose so much interest in people when I'm like, where's your authenticity? I don't know what you love. Like my clients were my OG day one followers. If I get on here and start talking about a product that I do not use on them, they do not see on my shelves, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, should I be using the whatever cleansing shampoo? I'm like, no, that's garbage. Why would you say that? Like, and they're like, oh, you posted it on your story. And I'm like, oh, because I got it for free. Like it happened one time and I was like, yeah, no, I'm never posting again. Like if I don't use it and I don't love it. And so I noticed quickly that kind of like diminished the whole little bit of like, I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, wow, I'm getting these boxes and this is great. And I'm a content creator. And then I'm like, oh, but I don't love it. Oh, but, and I was like, this is not for me. I saw everybody doing it. I thought it was so cool. I thought it was the way to grow. I thought it was just like the bee's knees. Like you're using free product, like you made it.
Right.
And I was like, no, I'm so sorry. Like it just, I couldn't do it. So, now I'm just like, I'm not doing anything paid. I don't do any paid anything. I just post what I love. My growth has been very slow because of it, but I feel good going to bed knowing that I'm only posting things I'm obsessed with and nobody could ever say anything otherwise. So that authenticity is so important to me. My experience with bioprogramming,
Mm.
game changer. I actually went through the worst hair of my whole life. I feel like every hairstylist can kind of have said that, maybe, of just like, where the like, I'll do yours if you do mine, or like, leave it on 10 more minutes. Who cares what's going to happen? And I was a 3N base color for like as long as I could remember. And I have a birthmark of pure white hair. And so I would color it every 5 minutes. Like I'm just like, yeah, and pull it through for sure. Like I definitely want the shine. So pull that 3N all the way through. Never gonna want to go lighter. And then I started getting more gray and I was like, "Ugh, I can't color it every minute. Like I know we'll just start blending it. Let's just break it up. Let's soften the demarcation. But I don't want to be brassy. Like I don't want any warmth. So I know I'll just like highlight the bejesus out of it and I'll just get there. And then boom, I'll be no brass. Yeah, I was living in an imaginary world. Okay. And so I was like, but maybe if I go to a salon and have it done, they'll do what I would do and they'll take the time and no, I went to several different appointments and like just got partial highlights and just kept trying to break it up. And things were getting overlapped and things weren't processing long enough. And everything was just like happening. And I was just like, this is not getting me where I need to go. I'm gonna do it myself, or I'm gonna have my assistant do it. And I'm just gonna have her flat foil every strand of hair on my head. I don't care that they've all been processed with different lighteners. I've got Bonds Builder, like I'm good. No, my hair melted off like 100%. Like I want to just pull up these pictures of just like hair melted. Like she went to check a foil literally and pulled the foil out and was like, it is white, but here you can look at it because you can see it's not on
Oh
your head
my
anymore. Like
gosh.
I'm mortified. It's now like 2021 and I'm like, I've always worn keratin extensions, but now my hair is 2, 3 inches long, really thin. She did the whole back half and stopped here. And it had taken her maybe 4 or 5 hours to foil at the time. She'd been doing hair for like a year, like didn't have that speed. Like, and it was my fault. She's like, shouldn't we pull these? I'm like, it stops processing after 60 minutes. It's fine. It's fine, girl. Like, cause I knew if she goes to put me back, we're gonna get bleeders. Like, No, just leave it there. Okay, but what's not fine is body heat. What's not fine is the mineral and metal deposit that was probably in my hair. I didn't have a filter, I didn't have anything, no chelator, nothing. And the chemical reactions that were just occurring and the breakage that was just happening. So my hair melted off. And I couldn't put extensions in because while I had enough to attach to, I could never heat style and blend my hair in with them. So I went with wigs and I wore a wig for about a year, and it was the hottest year of my life because I'm already a hot body, like profusely sweating all the time. Like it's horrible. And now I'm wearing a 22-inch wig, doing hair just like it was a really rough year. But I grew my hair out like 4 or 5 inches, enough to get a halo and like just barely cover that band and just like wear the halo straight, let my hair be straight, air dry it. Still no keratin extensions, which are absolutely the love of my life. But I was like, I can't put heat on my hair. So then I went out to LA to Beaumain Salon. My friend Andrea Henty, she's a celebrity stylist. She owns Line One Hair Extensions. And I was there with a friend teaching a class. And I noticed she had these devices on her station. I had no idea what they were. Like, honestly, when I was there, I was just like prepping our model. And I'm just like, how weird. Like, how do you even turn this thing on? Like, why doesn't she have a Dyson? Like, what even is this? Like, I was like, for being Beverly Hills, like, I've never even heard of this thing, whatever. And I'm like, it doesn't have to turn it on. Like, I was so frustrated with it. And I'm just like drying. I finally get it on. And I'm just like drying this girl's hair. And I was like, your hair feels so good. And like, we had just prepped her. She had nothing in her hair. And she's like, really? She's like, my hair is always so tangly. I'm like, feels great. Like I had no idea what I was using. I thought I was just using a blow dryer. I didn't know I was using a treatment device. And so I was just like, this is great, whatever. So we get done and Drea was like, Caitlyn, like you should really use these devices. And I'm like, oh, thank you. No, thank you. I don't use heat on my hair. Like I don't know if you can tell or not, but my hair is really damaged. And she's like, yeah, I can tell. You're not fooling anyone. No one is being fooled. She's like, yeah, so these are actually different. Like they don't damage your hair, they actually improve it. And I'm like, oh, okay. This must be some Beverly Hills stuff because heat is heat. Heat is gonna burn anything. Like there is no way, but I don't know. Okay, thank you. Like just trying to be nice, like, thank you. Peace be with you. I don't know. And so she's like, just literally you have to try them. And I'm like, oh no, 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 it's fine. And so she's just like, yeah, you could literally turn this on, turn it all the way up to 360 degrees. And like, I could even just take it right now. You don't want to have any product on your hair because product could burn. But I could just take this right here and curl it up and I'll let it heat up. And then I could just leave it on this hair for as long as you want. Like, I'll wait till it gets to 360. But she's showing me this. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm fine. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. And she's like, just try it. So we style my hair. And I'm like, my hair's never felt like this. What is that? Like, what did it put on my hair? Did it put product on my hair? And she's like, no, this just uses your own body. I don't know. It's like Japanese technology. It's based in quantum physics. It's super sciencey. I don't understand it, but it works really well and you need it. And I'm like, oh, I've never heard of it. And she's like, okay. So she sends me these YouTube videos and I'm like watching them for 8 minutes. I'm like, these people, they have a reponizer on one side of a 1/2 inch sheet of glass. No air is touching this lady's head. And they're blowing air through a sheet of glass on this hair for 3 hours. No air, not relying on any wind, power, no heat, no cool, nothing's touching it. And her hair is changing dramatically, like getting so much less frizzy, so much more shiny. Like, and I'm just like, okay, well, this is fake, obviously. Like, clearly, this is not happen. Like, this is fake. It's not real. I've never heard of it. Well, turns out it's real. And so I'll tell you all about it, but I'm going to tell you all about it while I hold a hair brush on my hair. So now
Fascinating.
we are fully heated up at 360 degrees.
Okay.
And so I am just now I did just wash my hair today, so I don't have any product in it. And I'll tell you why that's important. I just want to make sure I get my ends in here because honestly, they could probably use the most treatment. But okay, I'm fine here. I always demo on this side. So I made an active effort to do this side because I'm like, this side always feels better. But today, this side's getting the treatment. So you're probably like, oh my gosh, you're gonna fry your hair off and be the girl on YouTube that was literally like, this is my best. I use the Tresemme thermal spray and it's the best protectant ever. And then she melts her hair off and is like, what?
Oh
Yeah,
God, I remember that video.
I thought that was gonna be me, to be honest. Like before anything, I was like so into it, like newly into it, but like, yeah, I've seen the videos. I know it works. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do it live tonight. And I was like, I'm definitely doing a dry run because my hair is tragic. And like these people have like healthy, thick, beautiful hair. So I'm like, my hair will probably fry off. But I was like, I'll do a dry run first. So I'm like, cool, I'll be done with my clients at 7:30. I talked about going live at 8 p.m. And I was like, this will be great. I finished my client at 7:57 p.m. And I'm like, no dry run. Oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? Like, I can't do this. And so I get the invite from Beauty Tech to go live, and I'm like, everyone, like, I'm so excited to be here. I'm dying. I'm like watching the little count like tick. I'm like, okay, there's 36 people watching. I could still save that, right? Like if I deleted it because my hair fell off, I could save it, right? I'm dying the whole time. Like I'm watching the 10-minute, my husband's in here, my girl who works with me is in here, and they're both like, and I'm just like, yeah, it is actually using my own body and I'm going with it, but I don't know if I believe it. And I'm like, okay, moment of truth. And I take it off and I'm like, yeah, like I was so pumped because my hair was still there and it was so shiny. And from that point, I was like, I could do this forever. And I have no doubts and I'm fine. And so that was all I needed. But I really wish I could have done a dry run because go back and look at that video and it looks super shaky. Like I have my nervous, shaky voice. Like I'm like, uncomfy.
Oh my
But
gosh.
I know. So what we have here though, this looks like a curling iron, but it is not. It is so much more. So with this technology, bioprogramming technology, it's created by a Japanese technology company. It's not a beauty company. They have so many different lines of business with different types of programming technology. But bioprogramming technology is specific to beauty because bio means life and it works with living, breathing beings. So, what this technology does is it uses excess moisture from your body and brings it to the surface. And so, what is happening right here and why it's not going to burn off is because this device, the ceramic in this device, has been bioprogrammed. And so, like, even me just touching it, it's off, it's unplugged.
Mm-hmm.
If I just take this device and run it over my hair, I'm going to get eye shine. I'm going to get a reduction of frizz, increase in moisture, and without it even being on or plugged in, because the ceramics of this device work with the energy of your body. And so the ceramics are drawing, or the device itself is drawing excess moisture to this point, to whatever's touching it, and saying, I need more moisture here. Bring it here. And so the heat, everyone's like, okay, but it's going to burn. And I'm like, well, your body is, I don't want to say a limitless water supply, but we're all about 70% water. I'm not going to dehydrate my body. I'm not going to run out of moisture, but it's saying like, bring it here. And it's providing more moisture than what the heat would, like if it dried out, it would burn. So if you think about almost like, I'm just going to paint a little baby picture, but if you think back to that experiment, I remember this one from kindergarten, trying to light a wet paper towel on fire, like showing that you can't ignite something if there's too much, it's wet, you can't light it on fire. And so I'm like envisioning myself as being a faucet of running water. My hair is that paper towel, and this device is just that lighter, trying to light it on fire, and it's not going to burn. You're going to see excess steam being emitted. It doesn't have an odor. It doesn't smell like burning hair. It's just more moisture than needs to be here. So when you use these devices to style your hair, obviously heat is damaging. Heat is not providing the treatment. The device itself is, like the ceramics of this device touching my hair is what's providing the treatment, which is why I can use it unplugged. But it would serve no purpose at that point. If I'm not styling my hair, like nobody's just going to sell a chunk of ceramic and be like, use this as a treatment. It has to have a purpose, which is why they bioprogram these devices, because so many people use them. You know, like how many people would use a blow dryer? A lot of people. So the ceramics in this device have been bioprogrammed. And so when the air passes past by those ceramics and the air comes out, it works with your body. And so it draws excess moisture to the surface. So using it on your face, using it on your hair, whatever you apply it to, it's going to increase the moisture level up. Now think about extensions or mannequins or something like that. They don't have a follicle, they don't have a moisture source. You'll still see increased moisture, meaning the hair will become more reflective, but you can't do a heat test on it because it's not limitless. So you can use them to style extensions just like you would normally, and that's fine. But you can't do a heat test on them because you'd eventually deplete the moisture source. Like all hair contains a certain level of moisture, but it's not limitless if there's no body to it. And so that was something that was really interesting to me because I'm like, yeah, I'm going to try it on a mannequin. And then I'm like, oh my God, it did. Like it singed it. And I'm like, so it really does work? It really is real?
Yeah, I was
And
going to
I'm
ask
like,
you that. Like, so you did actually try
yes,
that on a
yes,
mannequin? I was like, that would
yes,
be the first thing
yes.
I would do, right?
Yeah. Well, here's me. I thought like I was just gonna like debunk it. Like I'm like, obviously this is fake. Like it just sounds too good to be true, and I've never heard of it. But this company, they don't believe in marketing or advertising at all because it would honestly sound too good to be true. And they don't need it. Like once somebody experiences the technology, they'll never use anything else. And it's so wild. Like when we're like, people are just bioprogramming obsessed. Yeah, because it's crazy what this technology is able to do for things that are just in your everyday life. These are not designed specifically for pros, but for the general consumer. Everybody should be using them to never experience heat damage again. I will say, if you're a pro stylist, you might notice these are two different colors. So they come in 4 different series. And I kind of think of it like kind of like an iPhone. Like there's a 5S, there's a 15. They're both iPhones. One's going to contain more technology, be faster, all of those things. Same thing. It's all the series, the 3, the 4, the 7, the 27 contain the same technology. The higher the number, the increase the amount of technology. So the more moisture, more shine, less friction, less frizz you're going to have with a single use with a higher density technology than you would a lower. And that's true to say also, like this is a 7D curl. This is a 27D curl. I could never use this 5 times and get the results I'd get with this once because the difference is exponential. It's not linear. So it's not like use it a few times extra and you'll get it. No, like using the 7, you're going to get really great results. But using the 27, you're going to get results that you could never achieve truly with the 7. And so as a professional, I always recommend stylists to use a 7 or a 27, 7 or above, I would say, because it works on all hair types. It works on every single person that sits in your chair. Everybody's going to benefit from it. But we see so many different types of hair in our chair that to use a lower density, it may not be as impactful. So like it'll still work. It would still never cause damage, but you might not get the best treatment, the best results to really wow your client.
Right. And that's like
So
what we're trying to do, really. We want them walking out of the
yeah,
salon being like, damn, I look good.
yes. So if you can see, the
Yes.
hair on this barrel is like so shiny, so happy. And I'm gonna take it off because my arm is a little getting there. Look at that little
Springy.
Bo Peep girl. I know, right? Super bouncy, super full of moisture. But like the shine compared to just like any other hair on my head, which is still relatively shiny.
Right.
And even if I just put like a regular curl in it,
Mm-hmm.
the more you use the technology, the better it will become, your hair will become because the results are progressive. So like when I'm just using this to style my hair every day, I am absolutely increasing the moisture content of my hair. But the more you use it, the longer you use it, the better the hair is going to become. But I have no friction at all, which means I don't have that lap of breakage anymore. Like I used to hate brushing my hair because I'm just like, ugh. It would just break, and it was so sad. And now I just like have no friction with it to where I just I just can't get enough of it. But I do want to show you also how I had mentioned the device doesn't need to be plugged in on anything to still get the treatment or the benefit of it. So truly, if you have someone that like their face frame is just like wiggly, like it is like fried, like don't even look at heat or it's going to fall off. You can always have your client use the device off or even on the lowest heat setting. Sometimes I'll have my clients do it at like 120, just so it gives a little more glide because it does create static if there's no heat at all. But even just using this device off, you're still getting the benefit of the treatment. So you'll notice I'll have my clients do this just as a demo, and then I'll have them run their fingers through both sides. And it literally there is friction on this side. And I'm like, there shouldn't be. I just did my hair. But you intensify the treatment when you take away the heat. Because if you do think about it, heat is something negative. Heat is always going to be bad. Bioprogramming technology is great. It's going to be a positive. And so when you have heat negative, but bioprogramming positive, you're kind of are at a net zero. No damage is occurring, which is why we can say damage-free heat styling, guilt-free heat styling. No, nothing bad's happening. But if you take away that negative and you just have all positive, you're going to get a much more intense treatment. And so people, it's the craziest thing when people are like, why do you call them treat? Why do you call them devices? Why can't you call it a dryer? And I'm like, because like the verbiage is so important. Because if somebody just saw this and thought $1,000 blow dryer, yeah, right. And they only used it to dry their hair. They didn't use it on the cool setting to increase volume. They didn't use it to decrease frizz or friction, breakage, provide shine. They wouldn't see the value in it. So knowing that it's a treatment device, it's a beauty device, it's not a blow dryer, it does so much more. Yes, of course, it can dry your hair. That gives it a purpose. It blows hot air. That's great. It doesn't damage your hair. That's great. But it's really about the value.
So we we know these tools, these devices
Devices.
sound
Yes.
amazing. And
Yes.
I have to ask you, how did you actually get involved with them? Because like when I first started hearing about them, I think it was after you posted the video of you using it on your face for your
Yes.
moisturizer. I was like,
Yes.
sold, girl. I need
Yes.
to
Yes.
buy these things. But being a professional, I was like, I'm not paying retail for these. I want
No.
to get them wholesale. And the
Yes.
company, it's kind of an elusive company. Like it's weird, right? Like normally we like go to our distributor and they're like, "Hey, come on in, just fill out this form." And I feel like they're like a little secretive or something,
I
right?
I could see that. I could see that. It's not as easy. I could say that for sure. The company themselves, um, I work with Beauty Tech Distribution. So I actually work with the distributor. So Andrea Henty, same one who owns Beaumain Salon and Line One Hair, she's the one who started using the devices and was like, completely blew her mind, changed her life, was like, I need these. Like every pro needs these. And so she started using them and contacted them and we're like, great. So like I'm a celebrity stylist. Do you want me to like try them? And like I used them one time. I thought they were great, but I'd love a set of my own. And they're like, great, you can buy them. And she's like, okay, I'll think on it. Like we get so much stuff in the industry and I get it. And at the beginning, I was like, how could you not just gift it to her? It would have made such a big difference. And their whole thing is they're expensive and you have to feel it. You have to feel the hurt of making the investment to then authentically share your experience with it. Because if you're just gifted it and you use it, oh, yeah, cool. I love this curling iron. You're never going to take it seriously. So that was kind of interesting. And she was like, there's not an easy way for us to buy them. There's no distributor. And they're like, nope, we're directly like manufacturer. We have a couple distributors, but we mostly sell direct. And she's like, I would love to be a pro distributor. And they're like, we're not really looking for a partner. Like, we're good. Thank you so much. No, thank you. And it took her like months, a year, maybe longer to develop a relationship and like that trust of like, I understand how you guys do business. It's very different than how a lot of companies do business. I'm willing to respect it. I'm willing to not advertise or discount or do anything. I just want to get these into pros' hands. And their whole thing is like, well, they're not for pros. And she's like, I know, but in the United States, pro stylists have relationships with people and can share information with people so much faster because the relationship that is formed between a client and a stylist. So if a client trusts their stylist, it's going to open the floodgates. Like, this is not new technology here. It's been here for years and years, but nobody knows about it. Nobody knows it exists. And she's like, I just want to spread information. And I think the pro channel is a great place to start because they not only have the devices, but they do have Albage, which is the same exact technology, but in a lightning system. That is a professional only product. You know, in Japan, they have color, they have skincare, they have hair care. Like there's so many different things that it's like, let's get this information out. And so she was able to create BeautyTechDistribution, which is the pro distributor in the US. So if you want to purchase the device at a wholesale cost, you don't have to do any like, there's no like minimum requirements. Like you don't have to keep anything in stock. There's nothing like that. But if you just wanted to get one for yourself to use it and pay wholesale pricing, you would have to go to BeautyTechDistribution.com, sign up for a pro account. Once you submit your license information, then there is a contract that comes from Lumelina, which is a Japanese technology company. And so you have to say, I won't sell this technology online. I will not discount it. And once you fill out the contract, then you create your login and you can purchase the devices at wholesale pricing. There's a $350 shipping minimum or a device. So like wet products, like if you're like, I just want to try the scalp essence or I want to try the Albage or something, you would have to meet that minimum. Otherwise, order a device and it'll always ship free. We're working on changing that, but because we are a wholesaler, it's kind of hard to just willy-nilly ship out, you know, a $20 product and pay $50 in shipping. So there are things that we're trying to work with, but right now, pros would create an account through BeautyTechDistribution, and that is the distributor.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and
so,
it is, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so with your involvement in the company, was it your friend that then kind of made the recommendation to them for you to work with them?
So I actually work for Drea. I work with Beauty Tech on the Beauty Tech side of things. And it was so funny because we actually did the BTC show a couple years ago. And it was so funny. Like Drea let me take home her reprenizer. And at that time, it was a 4D reprenizer and a 4D curl and a 4D straight. She was like, Kate, you need these more than I do. Like, take them home, use them, and whatever. And I was like, what? And I just thought, this is insane. So I brought them back home. I started using them behind the chair. And it was my clients that were like, Kate, I use everything you sell. Like, I love my hair. You've never steered me wrong. I use all K18. I do all the things. But whatever you did differently, what'd you do different yesterday that you don't normally do? And I'm like, I use this like really expensive device. I don't know. It's a blow dryer, but it's not. Like I didn't know anything. And I hated that my clients were asking me and I didn't know anything because Dre didn't know anything. She was just like, it works. And that was enough for her. And then I experienced it and boom, it was enough for me. But the educator in me was like, no, I need to know how it works. I need to know what it does, how it does it. And I actually have had a really incredible opportunity to meet the creator of the technology and to have like I call it an experiment day because we did like a whole day of experiments, but he's like, no, bioprogramming technology is not an experiment. The math is there. It's a math equation. So it's not like I already know the outcome. Like you're never gonna, you can't, oh my gosh, it was just, it was the best day of my life. But like I did all the questions, all the answers, like it was just the best day. And I'm so obsessed with it. And Dre was like, I've never seen you more excited or happy about anything in your life. I'm like, I love it. I love what it did for me. I love what it's doing for my clients. I just want to scream it from the rooftops and everyone thinks it's a scam. And I get it. I thought it was a scam. Like when she literally was like, no, they won't damage your hair. I'm like, yeah, cool. Yeah, thanks. I'm fine. I have a Dyson and I use GHD. So I'm set. both great products, but they're both styling tools. They're not treatment devices. So they are totally in a league of their own. And they take, like, what they do with the hair is very simple, but the technology is very complex. And since it is based in quantum physics, talking about it, you sound like a complete lunatic. Like, I tried researching quantum physics so hard before I went and met the scientists behind it, so that I would just be like well versed and like, I understand quantum tunneling and I know exactly. No, like, I don't even know what a lot of the words mean when I'm trying to research it. And so it's just very like philosophical, I guess. And it's like, you just have to experience it. It works with every single body. It draws excess moisture to the surface. You're never going to dehydrate. You're never, it's like, I envision my skin cells and my hair cells being like dried out raisins, turning into like big grapes and just being like full of life, full of moisture, hydrated, no friction. And it's the same technology in the whole line. So from skincare, different application. This oil is my favorite product in the world. It's a skin oil. The same thing with the cream. I keep both of these on my station because if you just put a dot on your client's hand and at the end of their appointment, you're like, hey, how's that feel? And they're like, how's it still that soft? And I'm like, because it's drawing moisture to the surface. It's not putting anything topical on your skin. And we're so used to these topical temporary band-aids and fixes and ingredients. And that's something that's really hard for people is you could read every ingredient on this bottle. It doesn't do anything. And that's not what's providing the treatment. It's how the energy of the products and devices have been programmed at the quantum level. And so when you talk about it, it's like, oh yeah, no, sounds real woo-woo. But you could dupe every single ingredient and this still wouldn't be bioprogrammed. And so that's something that's really hard because we're very ingredient focused here because that's what a lot of beauty companies do. They're like, okay, this is our hero ingredient. And in 6 months, we're going to work with this hero ingredient because we can do clinical claims for this one. And so then when people are like, well, where's the peer reviewed article? Where's the patent? Where's the this? And it's like, you're never going to satisfy people. So I just focus on here's what it does. I'd love for you to try it. I know it's an investment. With Beauty Tech, though, we do offer a leasing program where you can try the devices. I know it's a huge investment. Even at a pro wholesale pricing, it's still a huge investment. So what you can do is you can reach out and rent a device for 2 weeks, try it on yourself, try it in your salon. The 2070 devices are a $100 deposit. The 70 devices are a 50. Use it, experience it. That's all it takes. I do that in my salon for my clients because they're like, I really want to get the straight. I don't know if I use it enough. And I'm like, well, you have to use it to get the treatment. So whether you use it to style your hair or you just run it over your hair every day, you have to be willing to use it. And so I rent them out and literally in 3 or 4 days, they're like, yeah, okay. Can you order me one so that I don't have to be without it? Because
Yeah.
I'm not giving this back until I get one. Like, it's just
Yeah.
crazy,
I love
crazy.
this so much because I feel like there's a lesson here in what you went through. I tend to be a very ingredient focused, detail oriented person. Also, like I'm the kind of person that would be like, yeah, where's the peer led
Yep.
reviews, right?
Yep.
Show
Yes.
me the data. But I don't
Absolutely.
feel like the majority of hairstylists would fall into that category. And I think that's okay. I think the
I
the
don't know.
beauty here is, I mean, I know there are a lot that are ingredient focused, but I think for the most part a lot of us just want to create beautiful things and
Yep.
don't really want to know the like techie details about how things work. And so I think the beauty here is that you're like, I know what this does. I don't
Yes.
need to understand it. I just need to know that I'm sharing it from an honest place and that all I'm doing is contributing to my client's happiness. What else matters?
Absolutely. That's the thing. Like, I thought for sure, I thought, well, I don't need to be able to sell them to my clients. Like, I live in Ohio. I don't live in Beverly Hills. Like, in my opinion, I don't know if I have a single client that would be willing to invest at this point, it was $520 for the 4D reponizer. It still is, but now there's a 7 and a 27. And I was like, so yeah, I don't think I need the pro account. I think I'm just good with using them on my clients. That was me like making putting that projection on my clients, they saw the value without me having to tell them anything about it. They experienced it. And that was something that blew my mind, because stylists aren't traditionally salespeople. Like, if we love a product, our clients will feel our passion and they trust us. So they take our recommendation. But if you have someone here that's like, oh yeah, this is the nicest, you need to have this one's for you. Like, I'm instantly turned off and pushed away by that, because I feel like I'm being sold to. So for I think it's true that a lot of times people do tend to reject something they don't understand, where they feel like, I think I'm being scammed. And I get that. And I totally understand. As a stylist, we are sold to and targeted and added to, like, every single day of the week. It is the next latest and greatest and this and that. And it's been like that for years. And it's always going to be like that. Advertising is always going to be like that. So when people are like, yeah, no, it sounds too good to be true, it definitely has to be fake. And I'm like, I would love for you to just try it. Like, and they're like, yeah, I'm not trying something without a peer reviewed article. And I'm like, okay, I noticed that you probably used your refrigerator today, or maybe flipped a light switch. Like, are you sure you know how electricity and your refrigerator work? How does your iPhone work? It is the number one quantum computing device that you've ever, like, you use it every day. If it broke, would you get a new one, or would you be like, I'm not getting a new one unless that guy at Verizon can tell me exactly how this quantum computer is doing what it's doing? No. And so that's what I run into a hard time with, is like, I totally respect people wanting to know how it does what it does. I respect that all day long. But for someone to never even want or be concerned with using it, they just want to tell you, you're stupid, you don't know, you fell for a scam, like that stuff. I'm like, you're welcome here anytime for a complimentary bioprogramming treatment, because the people that experience it are just like, what? Like, how did I live life before it? Like, it's so crazy. A girl messaged me yesterday and was like, Caitlyn, the more I use Albage, the more of a whack job I sound like. I am just like, every foil I pull, I'm like, this is the best foil I've ever seen in my life. Feel your hair, look at your hair, touch your hair. Like, I'm literally just like, I put the shampoo on someone's head, and it's funny, when you pump the shampoo touches your skin, and it is like an instant, it feels like something I can't explain. So then once it touches the client's head, it's not just shampoo anymore, it's drawing that moisture. And so there's no friction. You could get out TZ lights, you could do a scalp massage with shampoo. Like, it's working with the body, and it's something that's so crazy. And once you experience it, you're like, oh wow, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Okay, this is just insane. And you want to tell everyone, and they rely on that, because they're like, there's nothing that compares. It's in a league of its own. So we don't even have to advertise. But
So clearly you're very passionate about
yeah.
this product, right? And I think that's
Yes.
great. And like, if I wasn't sold personally before on trying it, I'm definitely now. But I'm curious, like, where do you see yourself going from here? Because you own the salon that you're in
Yes.
currently, right?
Yep.
Okay, which is
Yes.
really
Yep.
cute, by the way, behind you here.
Oh, thank you. So
Uh,
this is actually, my house is on the other side. So my salon is built on the same property as my home, which I did so that I could pay it off and not have to worry about traveling and educating and still paying rent. So that's kind of why I did that. But go ahead. Sorry, I
oh
totally cut
no,
you
I was
off,
just
because I'm like,
curious. Yeah,
it's
like
not,
where?
no,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're like it's not just a
No,
salon.
I'm like, it's not a real salon. Like, no.
Do you have other people working in there with you?
I do. I have another stylist. There's only two stations here. I've always just worked me and a full-time assistant. But now that I am out of the salon so much more, I needed somewhere for my clients to go. And a lot of my clients want to stay here with all the technology, which I get. And so I do. I have two people here with me.
Gotcha.
One person is my assistant and one person is a booth runner.
And then do you see yourself stepping away from doing hair at some point again?
It's so hard, because I love sharing information and knowledge and education with stylists, but I also love my clients. I have niche down. I just looked at these numbers the other day, because I was wondering, like, how many clients do I still have? Because I've cut down from, now I alternate 3 days a week, 2 days a week behind the chair. I only do keratin extensions in the salon. So if I'm doing blonding, it's because I did removal. blonding replacement. And then I'll do removal, blonding replacement on my next one. That's my entire day, 2 days of that in the week. And I'm making more than what I would have made working 5, 6, 7 days a week because my services are bigger services. And so for me to be able to just do 2 days a week in the salon, I'm fine with that. I don't see that ever going completely away, ever. I really want to still have that client relationship. And I think it's so important. I do a lot of product testing and development. 2024 is going to be very exciting for bioprogramming things for us
Ooh.
pros. So it's important that I keep my head in the game, real life experience, real life clients. And I'm so happy that I'm able to do that. So I am going more full time in 2024 with all things bioprogramming. And I'm hoping to share more information than ever. And I'm still educating with line one. I try to do that about once a month, but I've committed to a minimum of 5 travel days a month teaching in salons bioprogramming.
Gotcha. I love asking that
So
question because everyone has a different answer, but it's
yeah,
all basically every hairdresser's like, I don't ever want to give it up completely because it's like
no,
a labor of
it,
love, right?
it is like you get so much out of doing it. Like
Right.
it's equally fulfilling if you're doing what you love.
Yes.
If you're not, if you're still doing services, like I had over 400 clients at one point. I always double booked, had my multiple like just assistants and just working and I loved all those relationships, but I didn't feel fulfilled at the end of the day. I felt so burnt out and like, how did I even give everybody 110%? And so then I was just like, okay, I'm cutting out all these services. I cut out all bridal, all hair cutting, all men's cutting, all things. Then I went through and I cut out all root touch-ups, all color applications. And then I went through, so I've weeded out. I think I have less than 60 clients now, and I see them every 12 weeks. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm the happiest I've ever been in my whole career doing hair because I'm
That's awesome.
genuinely, I don't have a day that I dread. I don't have a service that I dread. I have all great people, all great services. Like it's just the best it's ever been.
That's amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
Caitlin. Well, I would love to share with my listeners if they are interested in trying these devices that you're so passionate about. Where would you recommend they go to either start with like some education on it, or if they're just like, nope, I'm sold and I want to go sign up? What's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, so really just through Beauty Tech Distribution. So if they're on Instagram, Beauty Tech Distribution, you can go to the link in the bio and sign up for a pro account from there. I'm working on developing an education portal on that website right now that's going to have a ton of in-depth virtual education, um, all things bioprogramming. So I'm really, really working on getting more education out there because I know Instagram's hard when you have to scroll through and search for it. And right now I'm pretty much the hub of education for pro stylists with bioprogramming.
Okay. Do you have any sort of like pro, like affiliate link or anything like that that you can
No.
share? Man, girl, you got to get on that.
Listen, so bioprogramming will never do an affiliate link
Oh,
as it will lessen the integrity of the brand. Because if
mm,
somebody's out there like just enter Caitlyn 15, you don't know if they're really obsessed or not. But me, I'm out here and I don't have a promo code and I love it. So I'm like, to their point, I get it, but I also hate it because I'm like, man, I could have made so much money. But
yeah.
at the end of the day, people having healthier hair, it's a win-win for everyone.
That's great. That's a really good perspective to have on it, too. And then, if
Spread the
anyone
love.
has any follow up questions for you, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
My DMs are always open. I try to always respond to everybody within 24 hours. Email's great too, Caitlyn at Beauty Tech Distribution, but I think DMs are fine.
Slide
Hair by
into those
Caitlyn.
DMs. You heard it
Yep.
here.
Slide on in.
Cool. I will make sure to have a link to your Instagram handle in the show notes as well for them. So
Thank you.
awesome. Well, this was enlightening and intriguing, truly.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me today, and this is so much fun.
Yay. I know. Well, I can't wait to see what's going on in 2024. I'm so excited now. Yes.
Literally so much cool stuff.
Yay.
Whew.
Awesome,
Yeah.
Caitlin. Well, we will be in touch then. And
Yes.
until next time, my friend,
Thank you so much. Have the best day.
you too. All right, friend. Well, that's a wrap for this episode of the Your Hair Mentor podcast. It has been my pleasure to be here as your host. Again, my name is Crystal Green. And until next time, my friend, as I always love to say, have a wonderful hair day, and I'll see you then. Okay, bye.